Before you move away, stop here for a moment because something unusual is already happening around your love story and you may have sensed it without knowing how to name it. Someone connected to your future is not at peace anymore. Not because of drama, not because of some loud event. It happened quietly. They came to an understanding about you, and that understanding stayed with them. It followed them into silence, into long nights, into ordinary moments that suddenly did not feel ordinary anymore. What moved them was not your appearance first, not status, not perfection. It was something deeper, something rare, something this world keeps losing every single day. They noticed that your energy feels genuine. Stay with me, because this is where it gets intense. In a world full of people trying to impress, perform, and hide behind masks, your future spouse is starting to feel deeply touched by the simple truth of who you are. They are not restless because you chase them. They are restless because your presence reached a part of them that had gone silent for too long. And once that part woke up, they could not return to how things were before. So listen closely, because this message is not random. If your heart has been questioning whether someone is already feeling your soul from a distance, this may be the answer you did not expect. And what you hear next may explain why their emotions have been growing stronger with each passing day. Your future spouse has spent a long time around noise, around people who spoke sweetly but felt hollow, around connections that looked thrilling in public but turned cold in private. They learned how to smile through things that never truly reached their heart. They learned how to accept mixed signals, unfinished stories, and the kind of attention that disappears the moment real emotion is needed. But then your energy stepped into their path like a soft interruption. Not loud, not dramatic, just different. And that difference is what they cannot shake loose. They began noticing small things about you, the way your voice shifts when you genuinely care. The quiet depth hiding behind your words. The calm feeling around you that demands nothing yet changes the entire atmosphere. It made them pause. It made them wonder. And now it makes them restless in a way they have never quite experienced before. They are slowly realizing that you carry sincerity without trying to advertise it. And that kind of truth is rare now. Very rare. Most people are busy building versions of themselves that look deep from a distance. You do not feel like that. You feel natural. You feel honest. And that honesty unsettles them in the most beautiful way imaginable. Stay to the end, because this next part matters more than you think. What they feel is not based on a fantasy version of you. It is growing because they sense your heart, your softness, your hidden strength, and the way you held on to your warmth even after life gave you more than enough reasons to become cold. There are moments lately when they go quiet in the middle of other conversations because your energy crosses their mind completely without warning. Someone says something simple to them, and for no clear reason, they begin thinking of you. A song comes on, a memory surfaces, a future scene forms in their mind, and suddenly you are standing right inside it as if you have always belonged there. This is what confuses them deeply. They did not plan for these feelings. They tried to reason them away. At first, they told themselves it was just curiosity, just a passing fascination, just another emotional wave that would fade with time. But it did not fade. It stayed. It returned again and again. It deepened. And the feeling that keeps coming back is not chaos. It is comfort. Deep and steady comfort. The kind that reaches places inside a person they stopped showing to the world a very long time ago. That is exactly why this connection feels so powerful to them. It does not excite only the surface. It reaches the hidden rooms deep inside their heart. If you are still here, listen carefully, because this is truly important. They are starting to care about your feelings before they even fully understand what place they hold in your heart. And that level of openness feels dangerous to them. They are not used to peace arriving so gently and without conditions. They are used to proving, chasing, protecting, and doubting everything around them. But around the thought of you, something inside them wants to stop fighting and finally just breathe. One of the biggest reasons they cannot stop thinking about you is because you do not feel emotionally careless. You are not someone who gives your soul away simply to avoid loneliness. You observe carefully, you feel deeply. You may share laughter with many people, but very few truly reach the deepest part of who you are. Strangely, this does not push them away at all. It pulls them even closer. It makes them want to earn honesty instead of performing charm. It makes them crave real depth instead of empty attention. They have begun to understand that your love would not be shallow, and that single realization is changing the way they look at absolutely everything around them. Suddenly, the people around them feel different. The conversations feel thinner and less meaningful. The excitement that once impressed them feels temporary now, because once a person senses the possibility of something truly real, pretending becomes exhausting. And your future spouse is growing tired of pretending. They are tired of easy attraction without emotional safety. Tired of being surrounded by people but never fully understood by any of them. Tired of connections that start fast and fade even faster. Your presence, even from a distance, makes them imagine something else entirely. Something slower, stronger, and cleaner than anything they have settled for before. A bond where silence is not uncomfortable. A bond where both people can speak honestly without any fear. A bond where love does not feel like a constant battle for survival. Stay with me, because the next truth is genuinely powerful. They are beginning to understand that what draws them toward you is not only attraction, it is relief, emotional relief. The kind a tired heart feels when it finally senses a place where it can rest without being judged by every word and every silence. They have also started noticing something else entirely, and this part has shaken them far more than they are willing to admit out loud. They are beginning to fear letting you down. Think deeply about that for a moment. In a world where most people are only focused on protecting themselves, your future spouse is starting to worry about whether they are emotionally ready for someone like you. Your energy does not make them want to impress you for a single moment. It makes them want to genuinely become better in ways that actually matter. That is why these feelings carry so much weight. Your presence brings old habits right up to the surface. Old walls, old wounds, old patterns they believed they could carry forever without ever needing to change. But now they feel seen by a future they have not even fully stepped into yet. They sense that you would notice what others consistently miss. The sadness hiding behind their smile, the exhaustion beneath their strength, the parts of them that got so used to surviving that they forgot what it felt like to truly receive. And instead of making them want to run, that possibility makes them want to move closer and stay. It frightens them, yes, but it also fills them with a kind of hope they had almost stopped believing in, because deep down they have wanted exactly this kind of connection for much longer than they ever admitted to anyone. If this is touching something real in you, stay with me, because it only gets deeper from here. They are starting to imagine a life where they no longer have to keep proving they are fine, where they can feel exhausted and still be loved, quiet and still be understood, imperfect and still be chosen without conditions. And somehow every version of that life keeps bringing them back to you, again and again, without fail. There are quiet nights when they picture your future together so clearly that it almost feels like memory rather than imagination. Not perfect scenes, not fantasy. The moments that move them most are beautifully simple. A drive at sunset with music playing low in the background. Your hand reaching for theirs without hesitation or fear. A long day ending in shared silence that feels warm rather than awkward. A late-night conversation where neither of you feels the need to hide anything at all. These small images stay with them because they are no longer craving excitement without stability. They want both now more than ever. They want depth that survives long after the first thrill fades away. They want someone whose presence still carries meaning after the bright beginning settles into everyday life. And when they think of you, that is precisely what they feel. They feel a peaceful future, not a painful one. They feel a connection that does not need constant guessing games to stay breathing and alive. And that alone has shifted something enormous deep inside them. They are starting to slow down emotionally and finally. Starting to question the ways they used to chase attention that never truly satisfied them. Starting to lose interest in people who only offer noise and nothing beneath it. Stay here, because this next line may remain with you long after this ends. You make them want to stop running. You make them want to believe that love can be steady and still feel completely alive at the same time. That is something genuinely new for them, very new, And the more they sit quietly with that truth, the more deeply connected they feel to the idea of building something real and lasting with you. Instead of settling for something that only looks beautiful from the outside, what moves them most is not just your softness alone. It is your softness after difficulty. They can sense that life tested you, that disappointment found you, that not every chapter you lived through was gentle or kind, and still somehow you held on to your warmth. You kept your patience intact. You kept a kind heart in a world that so often rewards coldness and punishes sincerity. They do not take that lightly at all. In fact, they respect it more deeply than they have words to express. Attraction can begin quickly, curiosity can disappear just as quickly too, but respect grows slowly and with great intention, and once it settles fully into the heart, it changes absolutely everything it touches. Your future spouse is moving into that space right now, and they are not turning back. They admire your emotional depth. They admire your resilience. They admire the way your presence soothes instead of exhausts, the way your kindness flows naturally instead of feeling rehearsed, the way your energy makes people feel truly seen without you ever demanding the spotlight. And now the feelings stirring inside them are becoming more serious, more grounded, more undeniably real. If you are still listening, this next part was written for you. They are not drawn to you because you are flawless. They are drawn to you because you feel genuine, because your strength does not need to announce itself, because your heart still carries warmth even after it has weathered heavy seasons. That combination is uncommon, and they recognize it completely. It is why thoughts of your energy keep surfacing during their quietest moments. It is why their mind keeps drifting toward you even when they are trying hard to concentrate on other things. It is why their heart is slowly clearing space for a love they once believed was too good, too peaceful, too authentic to actually exist in real life. Another transformation has been quietly happening inside them recently. They are beginning to look at their past through a completely different lens, not only with regret, but with genuine understanding. They can now see how many times they settled for people who distracted them from loneliness instead of healing it. How frequently they confused attention with real affection, intensity with true compatibility, and temporary closeness with deep and lasting connection. But your energy disrupted all of those old patterns without forcing a single thing. When they think about you, they feel restored rather than depleted. That sensation is so rare for them that it almost feels too good to be believable. And because it feels almost unbelievable, it frightens them slightly. Peace can feel unfamiliar to someone who became accustomed to emotional turbulence. Stillness can feel suspicious to someone who was shaped by chaos and unpredictability. But slowly and steadily, your future spouse is learning that calm does not mean empty. Calm can mean safe. Calm can mean genuine. Calm can mean a love that does not need to wound in order to prove it is real. Stay with me, because what comes next truly matters. They are beginning to wonder whether every delay, every heartbreak, every difficult lesson, and every unexpected turn along their journey was quietly preparing them for a connection exactly like this one. Preparing them to truly recognize you when the time came, preparing them to genuinely appreciate what your soul carries within it, preparing them to finally and deliberately choose depth over distraction. And once a person begins to understand their own story through that lens, they do not easily return to their old ways of living. Something fundamental shifts inside them. Something deep wakes up, and that awakening is precisely what your future spouse is experiencing right now. Each time your energy re-enters their heart, they find themselves growing emotionally attached, not just to who you are as a person, but to what life could actually feel like standing beside you every single day. They imagine a home that does not require perfect walls to feel like a safe place. A relationship where honesty is not punished or used against someone. A future where two people can speak openly about fear, openly about healing, openly about needing one another without that vulnerability ever being twisted into something harmful. Those thoughts move them far more deeply than they anticipated. There are even moments where they feel a quiet nervousness just imagining meeting you more fully one day. Not because they are afraid of your heart, but because they sense how real and how transformative this could become once every wall between you finally falls away. They feel that you are the kind of person who could gently reach the parts of them that no one else ever touched with enough patience or care. And both the beauty and the weight of that possibility continue to stay with them long after the thought first arrived. If you are feeling something stir in your chest right now, keep listening because this next truth carries real power. Your future spouse has carried a hidden loneliness for far longer than most people around them would ever suspect, even in the middle of laughter, even surrounded by other people, even in moments that appeared full and bright from the outside. But lately, whenever they think of you, that emptiness gets interrupted. It softens, it becomes lighter and somehow easier to carry. Your energy feels like warmth gently entering a room they had forgotten could feel alive and welcoming again. That is exactly why this is no longer a passing thought for them. It is becoming an emotional turning point, a quiet but permanent shift in the direction of their heart. And when a heart changes direction the way theirs is changing now, it reshapes everything that follows. There is also a softer truth that has been quietly growing inside them alongside everything else. They are becoming protective of your shared future even before that future has fully taken shape. They genuinely care about your happiness. They care about your emotional well-being. They care about whether life has been treating your heart with the gentleness it deserves lately. That tenderness has been building slowly and almost secretly within them, and alongside it grows a deeper desire to show up with real intention when the moment finally arrives. They do not want to offer you half-healed promises and a love that is only partially present. They want to meet you with full honesty. They want to build something capable of surviving ordinary days, difficult days, beautiful days, and the quiet in-between days as well. That is precisely why your impact stays with them the way it does. Sometimes they wonder whether you are even aware of how deeply healing your energy can be for someone exhausted by emotional games and hidden motives. Sometimes they wonder whether you truly understand how unusual it is to make another soul feel completely calm simply by being who you are. If this message is reaching you right now, please stay for what comes next because it is genuinely important. They are no longer responding only to the idea of romance between you. They are responding to the possibility of real emotional peace, the kind that allows a person to sleep without replaying every doubt. The kind that lets two people rest beside each other without holding their breath in fear. The kind that does not demand constant proving, repeated testing, anxious chasing, or endless second-guessing. That is exactly the kind of future your energy plants inside their heart. And once that image became clear to them, their feelings began growing faster than they could conceal. Now they have arrived at a place where silence is becoming increasingly difficult to sustain. For a long time, they told themselves that distance would weaken what they feel. They believed that logic would eventually quiet it down. They trusted that the rhythm of everyday life would distract them enough to let it slowly disappear. But the complete opposite took place instead. The harder they tried to act normal and unbothered, the more present you became in every quiet corner of their mind. The more they worked to control their emotions, the more firmly those emotions pushed back against the effort, because genuine feeling does not vanish simply because someone has decided it is inconvenient or poorly timed. Real feeling waits with patience. It returns again and again. It asks to be honestly acknowledged. And that is exactly where your future spouse stands at this very moment, at a turning point where their heart has grown louder than every fear they once used to keep it silent. Stay with me, because this next moment holds something significant. They are beginning to truly understand that you are no longer just a thought they return to now and then. You are becoming a part of the future they quietly but deeply desire. A future where they are no longer required to perform strength every single day. A future where love feels steady, transparent, and sincerely kind. A future where they can finally be truly received rather than simply noticed and then overlooked. That realization moves them in the most profound way imaginable. It is why their walls keep losing their strength. It is why the comparisons they once made keep shifting in your direction. It is why hollow attention from others feels increasingly meaningless now compared to what they sense when they think of you. Once a heart begins to recognize where home truly is, it becomes genuinely hard to remain satisfied with places that were never meant for real rest. And here is the truth that may quietly change how you receive everything shared in this message. This connection is not deepening simply because of attraction alone. It is deepening because of recognition, emotional recognition at its most honest level, respect felt at the level of the soul, and the profound sensation of being understood without needing to carefully explain every hidden and tender part of yourself. Your future spouse already feels all of that when they think of you. They feel the comfort that does not need to be chased. They feel the depth that does not need to be performed. They feel the peace that does not need to be negotiated. They feel the quiet but undeniable certainty that this story between you is not accidental or random in any way.